Hey folks, welcome to Speedbump. It is time for the Mystery Triathlon score attack. The theme is cutting edge graphics, I guess is what I'll call this. Hyperzone is first. We're going to be doing a score attack for what, 10 or 15 minutes, seeing who gets the best score and then measuring that against the upcoming performance in the next two games.
Yeah, we'll do that 10 a game, I think is the right probably amount for a few of these. I'm worried if we do 15 for at least one of these games, it's going to be the longest 15 minutes anyone has ever experienced.
10 minutes is good. Nice 30-minute jump. All right, I am ready. I see everybody. Everything looks pretty good. We have a bonus 15, our fifth player over there. You can give them a signal whenever you're ready.
Yep, I'm giving them the info they need.
Hyperzone is pretty much F-Zero with guns. There's actually a Star Fox stage like this, and it's almost like they designed a whole game around that concept. It is very similar to that stage. It's a good stage. You stay in the track or you die. That's one of the things that's going on here. Space Harrier
Away we go.
is a bit more open in where you can fly. I know Space Harrier. I know of Space Harrier, 3D World Runner, etc. You can run like 360 in that game. Like you can loop the world. It's not really 360 because you're still going forward somehow. It's like you're strafing left and right, and you can do that as globally as you want. In this game, you're locked on the street here.
This looks better on your feed than it does on the side stream. I'm glad it's not unwatchable or anything, but just the bitrate is chunky.
That makes sense. I might.
You don't have to pump it or anything. I'm just commenting that, like, I was for a second there. I was like, man, this is chunky around the score area.
I'm curious if I can, so I'm going to. I'll give that a refresh. I think my internet can handle it these days. We've even got the F-Zero healing pads in this game. I haven't played it in a while, but I definitely like it. This game lets you upgrade your car to do a ton of damage. I don't remember exactly how that is done, but I don't think we're going to see a ton of that in 10 minutes.
As usual, we're focused on score here, so I'm not actually familiar with this game. This is one I think you know a lot better than I do. I'm not sure if they have the ability to exit the stage at their leisure, but I wonder if there's like a strategy for just collecting more score before they head out.
It's a shmup of a sort. So there is a boss and then the stage is over, and the upgrades are gun and probably health upgrades as well, but definitely guns. You definitely aren't shooting these little pea shooter things the whole time, and your car gets a significant, like, it really is like F-Zero. So you get, you go from the Blue Falcon to the obviously better Fire Stingray.
Wow, F-Zero 99 shots fired.
Well, I mean, that's not the same game, maybe they
Real
fixed...
F-Zero fans know that has no bearing.
Hey, it's been 35 years. You can't undo 35 years of history with 2 months of Fire Stingray suddenly not being the top dog. Acceleration out of hand on Captain Falcon, but that doesn't matter when you use a boost and you just have 478 kilometers an hour. RA1 cleared by everybody. Yeah, you get the shmup part of the race from that. It's gonna be who's the best at killing things for score mostly in this, unless they actually die, which game doesn't get that hard, not that fast.
Yeah, once we get some level ups, I think we're going to see the scores shoot up, because I think one of the big issues they're running into is it's just impossible to clear out as many enemies as they're throwing at you, so.
Fire Stingray, if you know Mario Kart and not F-Zero, you can just think of him as like Bowser. Slow acceleration, incredible top speed, so a good player driving Fire Stingray can't really lose. And this SNES one was a little imbalanced, so I wouldn't even say he had bad acceleration in that game. He just has top speed with no penalty in the freaking SNES game, almost. The Blue Falcon's okay, turns a little better, but like Yeah, almost every map, he's just better.
F-Zero 99's really put me in the mindset of wanting to try out, like, give a shot to SNES F-Zero and see if I can clear all the...
Oh, you won't have a hard time.
Cups.
It'll be easy enough. Some of those stages, like Firefield, are a little rough, but when I was playing 99, that's all I wanted. I wanted Firefield because I knew that like 70 players wouldn't make it through.
Right.
Just immediately raising my odds from 99 to 20. I don't know if that one's in there yet.
Keep an eye on score right now. DigiDigi's really breaking away from everyone. I think DigiDigi's just been more successful at clearing things out.
Subwoofer got taken out. They're on their last life, actually. Could be fatal for them. Thankfully, they've only got 5 minutes to wait if they do get taken out. F-Zero SNES is pretty fair. The later F-Zero games are more of the fine-tuned racing game experience where you have like Trackmania sort of things going on where you really need to be perfect. They're very hard.
I mean, in my opinion, SNES F-Zero aged better than SNES Super Mario Kart.
Yeah, probably, but it still does that rubber banding stuff.
Rubber banding doesn't bother me. I just think that, like, later entries in the Mario Kart series perfected the controls so much that Super Mario Kart feels just unplayable if you've played any Mario Kart in the past 20 years.
I don't know what Subwoofer's score was, but that's probably what their top score is going to be.
I asked them specifically to keep track of their top scores for me, so hopefully they'll have that ready for me at the end, and I won't have to scrub for it.
The game over got them.
I think we're going to see that from a few people pretty soon.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they'd have trouble with this or not. It's kind of a weird game. I grew up with this ridiculous genre because I really tried really hard to beat 3D World Runner. If you haven't talked to me about that stupid game, I put it on the like top 10 hardest NES games list pretty clearly. Like Battletoads is way easier than 3D World Runner in my opinion. If you want a challenge.
I've seen a lot of 3D World Runner, but I've never played it. I wasn't aware it was really that rough.
It looks fair. You go through 3 worlds or so, and then it gets out of control. Like you're running on the terrain. You know, you've got land to run on, you're jumping on dudes, you're shooting fireballs, and then they take away the ground, and you have to bounce.
My concern was it always looked like you needed to have, like, previously memorized
it's worse than that. There are, like, pillars in the ground, the pipes. You can jump on them if you jump just right, vertically and moving. You can control your forward movement speed as well, so you have to account for both of those things. You have to land on top of the pipe to get a jump. And it seems almost impossible. It's like 1 or 2 frames if you do it just right, and you don't have the opportunity to slow down in the later stages. You have to be cruising, so you have to do it in what probably is actually 1 frame or less. And it's the only way to travel after a while. They stop putting anything else in. It's just ground. It's just pipes with big pits around them. And you have to do it non-stop the whole rest of the game. It's out of its mind. There are other challenges as well, but it's like a speedrunner thing only. Another death has happened in Hyperzone.
Yep, we saw Colin get knocked out, and so did Tarragon. DigiDigi had the highest score and has made the most consistent progress without too much trouble, so I think DigiDigi's gonna run away with this game of our triple.
They got the blue lasers ship, the little toy car looking thing. It is better. It's just strictly better than the other one. They also have a charge. I don't know if the players noticed that or not. The charge meter, they seem to know about it. So they do have that now. I think the UI is pretty clear. Could be nice. Yeah, 3D World Runner is one of those games like you think it's cute, you play 2 worlds, you quit, you never know how horrible it gets. You never experience What if there weren't any ground? What if there was an enemy who's just a hand that runs in front of you and stops you from running and blocks you no matter what you do?
If I've ever played it, it certainly wasn't for very long, so...
Here's the SNES
Digi's
controller.
Currently fighting the SNES controller's
I'm pretty sure
buttons.
this is Americanized, and they do have the colorful, joyful version that we didn't get for some reason in America in the other version of this game. Yeah, the UI changes per ship.
If all the buttons were primary colors, then people would think that it's just a kid's toy. That's why we got the adult lavender and purple buttons.
Yeah, it's good. Good to have two colors. I think it looks okay, but man, the colorful version is just better.
Yeah, it's just better.
The UI changing for every ship is a nice touch from Hyperzone. Also, the charge shot went from just a piercing shot to now a radically awesome little wave of pellets that just cruises through enemies. Super nice. Game actually gets a little bit easier on the offense at this point, even if the stage gets harder. Yeah, thank you. I will update the stream title. This game is called Hyperzone.
Yeah, I think that's going to be about our time.
5 seconds left. You see how tiny the roads get. 90,000 is the points that they had, pretty much. 90,000, we'll just say that.
Yeah, I'm going to call it 90,000 for Digi. Our players are self-reporting. We appreciate them helping us out. It is very tough to keep track of these as people game over, so...
Yeah, makes it a little complicated. Some of these games have a score built right in, like maybe our next one. Which one are we doing next?
I think Slalom is going to be our next one.
These games are my fault.
Yep.
I thought they would be neat.
I tried to come up with a good theme. Smite was not on the same page. Actually, I'm kind of bummed that we didn't get to play one of the ones you suggested because we couldn't figure out how we would score it. But we're going to revisit that one because that one looked cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild game. I know which one you mean. It was just be hard to score, yeah, for sure. More of a one-on-one kind of race. People might be familiar with this one. Mount Nasty, Snowy Hill. Where would you like this ski down?
Do we have are we going to tell them one in particular, or are we going to let them pick themselves and just whatever's the best score?
I don't know how you get points in this off the top of my head. I bet you do tricks and run through the flags to get points. So let's just let them do whatever hill they want. That's their choice.
Is it points or is it time based?
Are we going by time? We can do that. If that's the case, let's do Snowy Hill.
Okay, so we'll take like what their best time is or something.
Yeah, I think I'm mixing it up with the other skiing game that I'm.
All right, so we'll do the middle one, Mount Nasty, maybe, and
that's probably hard mode.
Oh, you think so?
I'm not sure. It sounds like it.
All right, so we'll do Snowy Hill and
I don't know which one of those is worse. Mount Nasty looks like the worst one.
All right.
I think Snowy Hill will take care of us here.
And I'll figure out a clever way to make that work with my spreadsheet.
Here we go. $10 on the clock.
All right, so the instructions I gave them is that they're going to be judged solely on their time, and the goal here is to keep track of their fastest.
Pulling audio from Tarragon for this one. I think we were for Hyperzone as well. Game starring Ned Flanders in his snowsuit.
Looks like he's wearing nothing at all. Man, people in chat weren't kidding. This guy's cheeked up.
Ski suits always come with some free cheeks, just in case you fall down. Big foam buttocks. Players have qualified. So there are points, but I think that time is smarter.
Oh man, we're figuring this out in real time. Holy shit. Yeah, I remembered there being an NES game like this that had some sort of score system, and I'm not remembering how this one works. I can't believe there's a black box NES game that I don't know about, or at least not familiar with. Yeah, no kidding. That's exactly how I feel right now. We're gonna have to go back and review the tapes to figure out how scoring works.
I think that they should just do the third race and we should time that one. I mean, you can tell them that if you want. Like, we did the qualifiers, we're doing this easy-ish one, and the next one is the one I think that I want to matter. So they have a warm-up, and then we can call it at that. We don't need to give them 10 minutes. Like, whatever their time is, that's their time. I think that's the way to do it. I'll do that, if you want.
No, I got it.
Okay. I think that's the way to do it. I think this race is the warm-up. The qualifiers had, like, nothing in it. This one does have a bit more of the content we're gonna see. The third race, I think, is the one I want. After Cotton Candy. This gives players a chance to know what's coming up. The time is counting down, but if they can't clear it, that's too bad. Skid Row.
This actually works perfectly for us, actually, that it counts down, though, because we want to reward people who have more time left on the clock as if it's a score.
Yeah, unless they just don't make it, which is, you know, DNF. But I think everyone's been doing good. Game doesn't get that hard too fast. Did subwoofers not make it?
Subwoofers might not have made it, but that's okay, because we've got 10 minutes, and that gives us plenty of time to let subwoofers get there. It would be a very funny outcome if nobody makes it through Skid Row.
If nobody makes it, then I think we can wait on the rerun. But if they do, I don't think we should give subwoofers time. I think they just didn't get it. You into slalom?
924 on Rob.
Digi did not clear it.
Alright, well then.
Alan Zombie did not clear it. I feel like Digi got closer though. And subwoofers didn't even make it there. and then the other two, you have your times. I think we have everybody's score for this game. Good thing we didn't pick Mount Nasty.
Yeah, no kidding.
They should give you more time at the start of this.
Someone got a number for Tarragon. Tarragon got passed, but I didn't see what the time left on the clock was. I gotta tell you, I wasn't really familiar with Slalom. This game kind of owns.
Yeah.
5:32 left on the clock. Jesus, that was...
Do you want to let them all give Skid Row a second shot? I don't think we should do that.
I'm fine. Okay, alright, we can move on. Alright.
It's just because they can't stage select it.
We can have them all right now do a second run of qualifying run so we actually get times, if you want to do that.
I would rather go to the second mountain if we're doing that.
Okay. If you'd like to do that, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do that. One last race.
Steep hill.
Everybody's got their warm-ups in for sure now. Everybody's been playing for 6 minutes. To Steep Hill. Wonder if Dave Wise did the music for this. Pretty early. Steep Peak. Steep-eek. Steep-eek. Get those times. A couple people already started. That's cool.
Well, it's okay. Slalom was our last minute addition to replace one game that we couldn't figure out how to make it work. So the fact that this one also we didn't figure out how to make it work is sort of karmic justice if you think about it, right?
Yeah, we had 9 minutes of warm-ups before the ultimate run. 1284 for subwoofers, it looks like. 1906 for Rob.
All right, people are passing them along to me, so I'll
for Callum.
type them out. Subwoofer had 1284. Colin had 854. 1906 for Rob. 1906 for Tarragon. And Digi had 1596. There we go. Those are our scores.
Nice salami. We can go to the next game now.
All right. Our final game is Space Harrier 2.
Which we were talking about earlier. I love that gibberish that is posted. So Space Harrier 2 is what 3D World Runner wants to be. No running, just flying and shooting. Which is just when you remove the platforming from your weird 3D game, which, by the way, I don't know if you knew this about 3D World Runner, but it had a 3D glasses button you could hit at any time to turn on red and blue 3D. But it doesn't work with the glasses you're thinking of, like the ones like the guy from Back to the Future was wearing, like those ones you'd wear in the movie theaters. NES had an accessory for this, goggles, that would do it. That no one on Earth owned. No, there's no way that any human being had those things, right?
They're not just standard anaglyph?
No, they don't work. We checked when we were playing it. Nest goggles. When I searched that, I get Virtual Boy, which is pretty intimidating. Alright, I'm ready to start that clock. The Famicom 3D system is what it's called. Japanese only, and even then, like 4 games used it. A pair of active shutter glasses and an adapter to connect them to the 3rd player expansion port.
Sorry, active shutter glasses? So wait, like it's...
I'll put a picture on screen while we're setting up here, because boy howdy, it looks like garbage that you would plug into an old VCR. The Famicom 3D system, folks. Thankfully, we're not doing that in this run for this game. This is for the NES. They had good ideas that had no chance of success. This was one of them.
All right, do they need any information to get started?
They can pick any stage they want. You fly, you shoot, you blast, get the best score you can in 10 minutes. That's what we do. It's always on screen. I don't know that they should pick a hard stage. Probably not, but maybe it's worth more points. I actually don't know. I have my doubts that it will give them more points, so probably they should just go.
Do we want to just tell them a stage so that there's not the variance of guessing wrong?
Sure, Fantasyland is fun. Just go to Copper Hill, maybe, is an easiest one. Or the green one. Fours Yard is the name of the green one.
Fours Yard?
Yes, F-O-R-S. I love reading about 3D systems in gaming and how they keep failing over and over again across the years. The 3DS is like the first example of Nintendo not losing millions of dollars on it.
All right. I've given them the countdown. Here we go. Yeah, every time I've seen this game, it just looks like 3D World Runner, but it probably plays 1,000 times better.
Well, it just doesn't have platforming, which is,
right,
like I said, all that 3D World Runner has. This is what 3D World Runner turns into when you get to the dang boss fight.
Like it gives you the ability to fly?
Yeah, suddenly he can fly after falling in every pit in the world on the way in.
Not really much of a 3D World Runner if he immediately starts flying, right?
Yeah. Watch a long play or something of 3D World Runner and get to the stages with the frogs or the fire field area where there's no ground at all anymore. And
no, you told me that the game's fucked up. I have to play it now.
Okay.
I can't just look up a long play.
I want to be there for that. If you can beat that game, I'll do
I do not guarantee I can beat it. I just want to play it.
If you can beat that game, I'll play a SNES game of your choice. All the way through.
Okay, alright.
You beat that game with no cheats and I'll be the Bart's Nightmare Boy or whatever, I don't care.
Like you play Shadowrun.
That game's not too bad.
Look, I'm a sucker for live deals. You threw a live deal to me, I'm in. I'm interested. You got my attention.
You're gonna have to find a game that is hard enough to make up for the probably 50 hours or more that you're gonna be on 3D World Runner.
I'm not gonna make him play Bubsy 2. I want him to have a good time.
Hey, I'm like a foremost expert at Bubsy 2. That wouldn't bother me. Mostly that's just a labyrinth mess of a game. Knowing where to go is all of the battle in that game because you have health. Like that, you go in thinking they fixed Bubsy. You have health, and then.
Well, we have to make a second game, but what if we made it bad as a joke?
The game has 2-player mode. Kind of like little brother syndrome going on though, where you just have like a useless second character who can just like do nothing on screen while you play. Yeah, Shadowrun is it's kind of like a point and click adventure almost level of game where I'm gonna need a guide. I tried to play it without one and there's not enough information on what to do.
I'll make you play the the King Arthur game again. It's another playthrough of the King Arthur game.
Still probably the worst SNES game I think of. Haven't gotten to it on my list though. Tolkien's hard to beat, but Wolverine took it for me. Again. At least
the bad Bubsy game is actually the two modern ones they made.
Yeah. Those devs had I think whoever owns the rights to Bubsy maybe is who did this, and maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought I saw an interview recently where they said if any indie developer wants to take it up, just give us a call.
It was Atari, yeah. I think Atari bought Accolade's IPs, so...
Look at this frickin' dragon, this blue dragon. Yeah, Adamantium Rage is currently my worst SNES game that I've played since the point of starting to rate them. But King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, the game which had a 6-page Nintendo Power spread, is probably worse in a lot of ways, including it's got all the problems that like Shadowrun has, where you can't possibly know what to do. But on top of that, Shadowrun's cool and looks nice, and it has game to it. King Arthur does not have that. And it's based on a Saturday morning cartoon instead of being a unique world, and
Get ready.
It features a bug. So the first thing the game does is teach you that you need to just pick up everything and do the adventure game thing, right? Where you just find stuff and try to solve problems, and if you pick up the wrong item lying on the floor too early, you permanently softlock the game, and you are going to do that. There's no way that you won't. You are going to find the wrong item first. It's just super gonna happen. So it's broken too. We have a nice handy top score. You love to see it in this game. The only one of the day that makes sense for this. But that's okay.
It actually works for our needs, yeah.
I've seen King Arthur's World. That's a much weirder and better game than Knights of Justice, which is a Saturday morning cartoon. The only thing from King Arthur in it is the names. It's a football team that goes back in time.
Oh, King Arthur's World. I've had this on my backlog for a long time. It looks like a really interesting Lemmings variant almost.
I want to see you cracked and playing through 3D World Runner and just jumping on pipe after pipe over a void perfectly. It's going to be great. And even when you start to do it perfectly, you're going to be like, yes, I've got it down. You're going to find out that the timer is running out because you're not doing it fast enough. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. I grew up with that treat. I tried to game Genie through it. You can't even do that. It's not good. It's too hard.
I'm gonna go on eBay and try to buy a pair of those active shutter glasses.
You're gonna need a Famicom. Wonder how much they cost. The first
I'm gonna look it up.
Nintendo commercial failure. Like the Power Glove was way more successful than this thing by an incredible margin. Not even close. It was probably the worst product they ever made. It just didn't take off at all.
I see a pair of the glasses for 120.
Ooh. Surprised they even exist. How many could there be? There might be a different like brand that made them and they just work with that port, because that's probably a thing. Those aren't the only systems that add those.
Sure, my pile of Bubsy 3Ds is not as mighty as it could be. I started collecting strategy guides though, so that's kind of slowed my purchase of Bubsy 3D copies.
I have the King Arthur's Nintendo Power magazine still. I was into that for like 2 years, so I kept all those. The only game I've destroyed was the M&M's Beach Party Wii game, because I was super annoyed at it and I said I would if people wanted me to, and they did, so snapped it. Didn't take it back to the store, just broke it. Removed it from the world. There are 2 minutes left in today's battle. Callan's got the top score at the moment, and it's a pretty big lead with 2 million points and 300,000 on top of that. I don't think they're going to touch that top score, but maybe. They have a little bit of time.
Get ready.
Japanese title for 3D World Runner is Operation Jump Out. That's kind of a fun name.
So in that game, at any time, you can just hit select to turn on that mode, and they put that in the American version despite never bringing that piece of equipment to the States. And it just looks so hideous. I always assumed it was for the regular 3D glasses that you can get for like, you know, $1. But that doesn't work.
Get ready.
It requires something, so I don't pretend to understand it. 3D stuff doesn't even work for me very well because one of my eyes is so bad compared to the other one. So I can't really use like an Oculus Rift or whatever the heck those things are. So to me, it's always been like, I'm glad that it sucks because I'm not missing out. Everyone can suffer. Everyone can suffer bad
for it that turns it into anaglyph, so you can use anaglyph glasses on it.
Oh, that might be cool.
3D World Runner.
I don't know. 3D stuff doesn't appeal to me because of that, but it looks like it is taking off a little bit. And the 3DS was pretty neat. And I understand the virtual reality appeal. That's a whole world I can't really get into because of that, I think. 5 seconds. Time is up. The top scores are on screen, and actually Digi with 2,555,000 is the champ of this game. There was an arcade cabinet that was a photorealistic dude projected onto mist, basically. It was like a cowboy game or something silly like that. Probably didn't age well either, but it was a unique visual, at least. Let's see how our players did.
I'm entering in the scores right now. All right, and there is our leaderboard up to date. Looks like we've got
Digi 284.
Yeah, we've got Digi at 284. We've got Tarragon at 230. Rob Snowlock at 216. Colin at 184, and Subwoofer at 162.
That Hyperzone and Slalom really hurt Subwoofer. That is our race. That is the Weird Graphics Games pack. They did some cool stuff. There's a lot of isometric games too, like Snake Rattle and Roll and Marble Madness, which we played on the pit today. Would be 2 more picks that I would have for this. Just right out the gate, just can think of a bunch of these kind of games. And obviously the flight sims and stuff. Star Fox. Hey, thanks for joining me out the blues.
That was a lot of fun. Enjoy your SpawnCon.
Have a good one.
Later.